Welcome to the You Heard podcast, your go-to for Miami Hurricanes football. Ben, Joe, Pope, and CB break down recruiting, hot topics, and game day action.
All right, we'll talk about it at the end.
No, let's talk about this right now because he completely flipped it on me now.
I hate him for knowing this, bro. This man knew the brand, dog.
Okay, I don't appreciate that. I'm saying, like,
what are we talking about, son?
Get into it, talk. I felt
Keeping it a buck.
Let me close these curtains real quick.
You heard. Hey, yo. What up? Hair's looking crazy. Obviously recording this one today. This is some future shit. I'm actually going to be working when this is posted. So wanted to make sure to get it out to y'all, man. Camp kicks off tomorrow. Today is media day. Shout out to all the credentialed media that's out there on campus. I wish I could be there. You know, work is work, man. That takes priority. How y'all feeling? How y'all doing? We're going to be in the live chat. We're going to try to be in the live chat once this posts. I'm saying go back and forth with y'all. It's been a minute. It's been a hot minute since we've recorded one. My guy Joey's taking a little bit of time off. You know, Poke is working. CB's, doing CB things, probably eating Red 41. You know what I'm saying? There's something crazy like that. Hope everybody's good. Hope everybody's blessed. Sending our thoughts and prayers out to the people in Hawaii and the West Coast. Crazy tsunamis because of that earthquake out in Russia. I'm not sure how that works. I'm not smart enough to figure all that out. Hope you guys are good, man. Fam, again, I said it on Sunday, but we made it, yo. The off season is over. Now camp starts, getting ready for 8:31, man, against Notre Dame. This is it. We did it, bro. Like, all the recruiting talk kind of takes a step back. Now we start looking at the guys that we brought in, the transfer portal players, who's going to contribute this season. There's a lot of questions going at the camp. So on this episode, we're going to talk a little bit about the position battles. I'm going to give you my two deep for each position group, not the teams, two deep. We don't know what that is till game one, but more so who I think are going to be the two deep going into day one of camp and who I think might pop as a freshman. It's just going to jump right into it, man. It's going to be a quicker pod. It's different when you're talking solo dolo with no chat to bounce ideas off of. So again, appreciate y'all so much. We're up to 2,446 subscribers, man. Can't thank y'all enough. Make sure you smash that like button right down there and hit that notification bell. It'll be like right here somewhere. Let y'all know when we drop new episodes, man. Appreciate y'all. All right. The position battles are pretty much self-explanatory. You know, you've been following our content or whoever else does content for this Canes life. Who's going to be the third DT, right? Because it's got, the fourth DT behind Moulton, Blay, and Scott. Who's going to be the other safety next to Zechariah Poyser? Who are the wide receivers that are going to step up? Because we hear a lot about JoJo. Still haven't seen it. Shout out to my boy Joe. Is Mally going to take that step and overcome two upperclassmen in Ray and Tony Johnson? Where's Nye Carr's role? Where is Nye Carr's role in this offense? Is he going to be behind JoJo and be getting some decent snaps this year to a chance to contribute? How's Chance looking in the offseason recovering from an injury? There's a lot, man. So going into position battles, I can't tell you guys enough how joyful and glad it made me to see Markeith Williams having some weight on. I think I was actually talking to my guy Pedro yesterday. Shout out to Pedro, man. Ran into him at work. I was actually talking to him. I was like, yo, like he could be a real difference maker with the weight on because he's always in the right place. Right? He's always in the right place. Smart football player. That's never been a question. He's just always been light. Like, metabolism was what it is. God bless him. But man, what a difference maker he could be playing in that role behind Zechariah Poyser, and you have real depth in that position. I think now with him, and we'll get into the 2 deep, but I think with him adding the weight on, kind of solidifying that safety room, you have 4 safeties really in there now. You have Dylan Day. However you want to play them is up to the coaching staff. You have Dylan Day, Zachariah Poyser, Mark Heath, and Jacoby Thomas, right? The transfer from Tennessee. So there's depth. Yes, you want some more guys to step up. Maybe an Amari Wallace, coming off that crazy injury from last year, but is 100% and played 100% in spring. Can be a real game changer there. That'd be dope. That fourth D tackle, right? Is Dante Simpson gonna jump over some juniors and sophomores and Travius Jones or Dalen Russell? Again, I say it again. This just because these are my eyes. Like I'm not. When I saw him at the American Heritage game, I was like, "Ooh, that he looks a little small." He was out small for like what I think a D tackle should look like, right? Like in my mind, this isn't like the metrics of somebody else. I'm thinking a D tackle should be like one of the most imposing figures on the football team. I was like, I don't know. Then I saw him in spring. Shout out to my guy Cafecito. We got a chance to go see the scrimmage because we couldn't make it to the spring game, and it was an impressive turnaround that young man has done to his body. That man has put in work. He looks like a totally different person. If he can be that fourth DT and Artavius can take 5 to 10 snaps, I feel a lot better about that D tackle room. I really do. But that is all hypothetical, right? That's hoping that D. Lou has worked magic in there and had players step up and taken the next. That was one of my lights die. It's taking the step up and been able to contribute this year because you're gonna need it. You're gonna be in games that look. Game one, we're playing probably the best offensive line we're gonna play all year. Definitely the best offensive line we're gonna play all year. You're gonna need guys to jump to spark that. The offensive line might not necessarily have tape on that can show them something a little different. Artavius Jones is an absolute tank of a human being. That man is an absolute tank. That dude is ridiculous. Was a state weightlifting champion in like 2 different categories a couple years ago. That's why he was a late entry because he wanted to do his weightlifting team. He came in a little later. He was an early enrollee. So if he takes a step, that dude is a freakish athlete, and that would be huge to be that like 5th DT and have real depth in that room. What do we get from David Blake transferring up from a lower division? The name of the school escapes me now. Transferring up from a lower division, seeing what he could bring to the table. Does Justin Scott with a full off season, again late enrollee last year because of basketball, with a full off season, fully focused on football? What does a Justin Scott look like? That's something like I'm sure people talk about it. I'm not acting like I'm the only one that's mentioned it, but I would love to see that. I can only judge things off my own eyes, not what other people have told me. You get what I'm saying? All right, incoming freshman. What does it look like for a Kellen Wiley Jr.? What does it look like for an Amari Wallace, a Bryce Fitzgerald, a Chris Ewald, a Hayden Lowe? Is he ready to contribute on a D line that is absolutely stacked? I was looking at the roster as I made this list for my 2 deep. I was like, holy how am I gonna place these guys? And what, like, mind you, I'm just like doing like fantasy draft, right? Like I'm just putting these guys together. Like, I'm having a tough time penning other players in over other players. It's like, man, this is a great problem to have. Does Hayden Lowe take a leap into that second or third defensive end role? What does Malley look like? You know what I'm saying? Like, again, he's a 17-year-old super early enrollee because he reclassified to be able to contribute this year. Is all the South Florida? It's not South Florida hype. I don't even want to call it that because I saw it again. American Heritage game. Diabell gets hurt. Offense does not miss a step when they insert Malachi Tony that took them all the way to the state title, beating Darion Coleman's Orlando Jones team. Look, this freshman class was smaller. I think Coach Cristobal is lower ranked out of his 3 years here, but the team is ready to contribute. I can't say enough. Amari Wallace, man, can be a real game changer. Like, the dude broke his leg. Like, documented publicly. This isn't like I'm breaking news. He broke his leg and bounced back and was ready to go in spring. That's crazy. That's crazy. That shows his work ethic, determination, and great mentality and great support around him, because you can't do a recovery like that by yourself. You have to have people to support you, that love you, that are there for you, and that mentality continues to be a recurring theme in the guys that we've talked to and in the young men on this team, right? The ones that have stuck around, because some guys, again, have hit the transfer portal. It's not 100% success rate. Some guys have hit the transfer portal, but that's the cost of doing business nowadays in 2025 college football. And tomorrow might be a whole different set of rules in business. So Emory Williams, I think, has a chance to contribute. I think he has a chance to get some snaps. What that looks like, can't exactly tell you. That's only up to him and the coaching staff that evaluate him, right? But I think he has a good chance to be that fifth safety, which is not a bad problem to have. Can rotate in solidly in games that we should be handling business in. Hopefully, we don't have the heart attack canes of 2025, and our defense is stronger, and our offense just doesn't completely fall off. It's not going to fall off a cliff, because we still have an incredible offensive line. We just kind of push that aside because, we don't have all these guys, and we still have the top two offensive line in the country, with possibly 2 first-round draft picks on that O-line, and possibly all five players drafted. It's hard for Brockermeyer to say, because centers don't get drafted for whatever reason. They're usually undrafted, and then they play forever. But yeah, man, the biggest question I have for this roster is what wide receiver steps up. Right, we got spoiled last year. We had a whole bunch of upperclassmen. Everybody went to the league. Isaiah Horton went to Alabama. What does C.J. Daniels look like coming off that heel injury? Ball accounts, super healthy. Check his YouTube, working out like crazy. Super locked in, super dedicated. Knows that this is his NFL year. We probably got to stop calling it a money year, because all these players are getting paid, but this is their league year. This is their final tryout to put themselves on good tape and good standing with the NFL, to show what they've become, because Coach Cristobal has turned this roster over, where you're kind of starting to see the wheels turn to seeing the Hurricanes be a destination for NFL scouts to come down, as opposed to 3 years ago, when everybody was getting ready to go to Tootsie's and hit up Flanagan's and get up out of there, because the roster just wasn't where it needed to be. Is JoJo everything everybody's talked about? Right? Saw the high school tape, saw the huddle tape. That was 2 years ago now. This isn't a discredit. This isn't any slight to JoJo at all. It's just saw it once in the bowl game. Had some snaps throughout the season. Not really the focus, or wasn't able to overcome or jump over a Sam Brown that was brought in, as that fourth receiver, which in retrospect, I would have loved for that not to have happened, for my own selfish reasons, just to have the data and the film to be able to say, okay, JoJo's about to take that next step, and he's the leader in the room. And you know what I'm saying? There'd be a lot more confidence. But football, like everything, and especially in 2025 football, it's year to year. You have to try to put out the best roster every year, while still trying to keep an eye on the future and trying to keep your recruiting classes together and keeping previous recruiting classes together of the players you want to keep and you want to keep on staff and you want to keep on your program. It's just a lot to balance, right? That like, just even brainstorming that, I was like, holy, that's a lot, bro. That's a lot. Yeah. So incoming freshmen, position battles. What about you guys? What do you guys think? Who do you think is going to be your breakout freshman for the year? Right, just going into it where the day before, the night before camp kicks off, and we haven't seen any footage that we're going to see all through our timeline tomorrow. Today's media day, so they'll have all the interviews. Shout out to everybody that's there. Who is your breakout freshman? Is it Malley? Is it Kellen Wiley? Is it what are we thinking? Bryce Fitzgerald, Chris Ewald, Jabari Antoine? which will be crazy in a super stacked defensive back room. Who do you guys have as your breakout? For me, a super low-hanging fruit, I'm going to go Mally. I don't know what that looks like. I don't know when it looks like, what it's supposed to look like. But getting to see him take over for a super stacked American Heritage team and take over for a 5-star quarterback, and that team just improved week over week in the playoffs. That young man is just different. I don't want to call him that young man is just different. 17 years old. Is it fair to put that kind of expectation on him, or has he always had that expectation of himself? You know? So yeah, super low hanging fruit on that one. Y'all leave it in the comments. And my transfer portal impact player, this one is tough, bro. Because you have Zechariah Poyser, you have CJ Daniels, David Blay. I think he's at third DT already. Sorry, my bad. Let me jump back. And on the defensive side, because we was the offense and defense, we'll go Hayden Lowe, incoming freshman impact. What that looks like, again, with that super stacked defensive line room, don't know. Is it just packages and flashes? Probably get him ready to make that big step in 2026. Kind of keep him hungry, but also kind of keep him hungry in the sense that he knows he's next, but gets playing time as a freshman, which I think would be huge. And what that looks like in the NIL package in 26, not my business, not my problem. All right, transfer portal guys. I'm gonna go Mo Toure. Feels so below hanging. I want to do the deep cuts, but it's also Mo Toure's had multiple ACL tears. But jumping back, looks like an absolute freak show in his offseason workouts, running around in the sand on campus. Yeah, that's on campus. That's what Miami Hurricanes campus look like. That's not at the beach. They have a beach volleyball in the middle, of their courtyard. It's fantastic. It's a beautiful campus if you've never gotten a chance to see it. I'm gonna go Mo Toure, and on the offensive side of the ball, feel like I'm being a bit contradictory here, but I think Tony Johnson is going to be solid because he's a slot receiver, and you know what Dawson does with slot receivers in this offense. But I'm gonna put it as a tie with CJ Daniels because there's also Shamar Brown. Bro, what a great problem to have that I can't pick one. As you can hear, obviously I'm in the hotel. They're cleaning the room next door. I don't know if the mic's picking it up or not. But all right, this is just thinking out. All right, so I have my top 3 transfer portal offensive players would be Shamar Brown, CJ, and Tony Johnson. But I got to pick one because that's the rules of the pod. I mean, most snaps is probably going to be CJ Daniels. What that looks like as far as contribution, don't know. Third running back will be Shamar Brown behind 2 monsters and Jordan Lyle, Mark Fletcher. Or do I go Tony Johnson, who might get the nod and starts as of right now with a Ray? Fuck, bro. I can't pick between those 3, but I got to because that's the rules. It's the rules, B. I'm gonna go Shamar Brown, man. I think the reason why I want to see what that looks like transferring over from North Dakota State. Already has college tape, as Flo's pointed out, on For the Culture. And, we know he's, 210, 215, maybe closer to 220. Who knows what his offseason workout looks like. I'm sure there'll be updated weights and heights after today's media day. But, yeah, man, I'm going to go Shamar Brown because I have expectations of those first 2 running backs, and I just think it's a surprise to see how Shamar Brown runs differently than those 2. I think I'm excited to see that. So I'm going to go Shamar Brown on that. All right. Now, we're going to get into this Caneswear ad, and we'll talk about the 2 deep, my projected 2 deep, going into camp tomorrow.
Welcome to Caneswear.
New store, new items, same great experience. Family owned and operated since 2010, Caneswear has the latest merchandise from the Miami Hurricanes, Miami Dolphins, Florida Panthers, Inter Miami CF, and more. Come visit us at our store in Davie on University Drive, just south of 595, or online at caneswear.com. Caneswear, the spot Miami fans shop.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Make sure you guys support Caneswear. I was hoping to make a trip down there while I'm down here, but not looking likely. Work has gotten crazy and out of hand. But, bill paying and family support first, always. My family. All right. This is mine and meal. Projected too deep. There's some slashes in here, too. Like, there's like that 1A, 1B type shit for this roster going into tomorrow. Obviously, I think they're just like in pads, t-shirts, or like t-shirts and shorts tomorrow, so they're not hidden. It's nothing. I think they don't put on pads. So next week they'll probably be in shells by the beginning of the week, because they got to wrap this shit up pretty quick. They got Notre Dame. They don't have Bethune-Cookman. No disrespect, or Florida Gulf Coast or whoever. Game 1. This is Notre Dame. Big rivalry game. Sadly, I will not be there. Work is work. So y'all make sure y'all go crazy in that stadium for me, man. My guys will be there, though. Joey and Poke will be there. You in Miami will be there. X will be, you know what I'm saying? Everybody's going to be there except for me. And I'm not happy about it at all whatsoever. Obviously, starting with QB1, if there's any debate, any discussion, it's Carson Beck, 24-3 in the SEC. Won the SEC multiple times. Went to the SEC championship even more times than that. I don't understand how, and I said it on Sunday, I don't understand how a player that can go 24-3 in the world's hardest conference can be talked about so degradingly just because of where he transferred schools to, right? Yes, last year was last year, but you got to take in the fact that they led the nation in drops. The team was a huge drop off from the year before, which is not the expectation you should have for Georgia. It should just be like, it just keeps going. It's a steamroll. It's a snowball effect. That shouldn't have happened where the team is dropping balls like that. That's unacceptable. And he forced balls and he made bad decisions. All those things are true, right? Interceptions are interceptions. But still led his team, still won his division, still led his team to the SEC title. Had to for the game-winning play with a broken arm, had to hand off the ball to his running back to win the game, because their offensive line got Gunnar Stockton absolutely murdered. Like, if you see that image on on social media or on Google, that boy was knocked out. He was to it. It was nasty. Texas has a crazy D line though, so it's not, there's no sleep on them. But yeah, look, that's what it is. Carson Beck, I think he has a monster year. What that looks like statistically, not going to tell you that yet till we get into our season breakdown. This is more camp talk. So Beck, I have Emory starting as the number 2 heading into tomorrow, but I think Luke overtakes him at the end of camp. Just my thoughts. I think, but it's one of those weird things where, like, are you gonna, if something, knock on wood, if something happens and you have to go to your number 2 out of necessity, do you play a Luke as a true freshman, or do you go with game experience? I'm assuming you're gonna go with game experience. So that's why I have Luke and Emory as my 2A, 2B type situation. Like, I have them kind of tied for that spot, and then Judd coming in 4th. I just think Judd's a little bit further behind than a player like Luke. But who knows? You could have been making crazy strides and doing crazy work in the offseason and taking steps. I don't know. I don't follow them like that on social media. I don't know what they post like that, so I can't speak to something I don't know. That's not how I work. All right. I got Fletcher starting as my RB1 with Jordan Lyle right there, 1A, 1B. And then Shamar Brown in that 3rd spot, which is really like the 2, right? I think Lyle will bring some game-changing plays, but again, we just kind of dismissed this because of his holding onto the ball issues. Mark Fletcher hasn't had a full off season where he's healthy going into football camp, into fall camp. Year 1, he was coming out of high school because his school doesn't allow early enrollees. And year 2, he was recovering from like 2 different 2 different surgeries, whatever they were. So first full healthy offseason. What does that Mark Fletcher look like? Because we know what Mark Fletcher can be. Won us a couple games as a true freshman in year 1. So what does that a healthy Mark Fletcher look like? Does he hear the whispers of like, but Lyle though is looking crazy? And does he go, oh, okay, y'all think it's like that? But Lyle is also going to be a competitive guy and want to take that spot too. This is that Green Tree rivalries, man. This is the little Green Tree battles, which shout out to Inside the U and Chris Stock. Thank you for the video that you posted. The field looks like it's done. There's some stuff still that needs to be done because they're extending out the IPF, but the field looks ready for camp. So it's go time, baby. I got Shamar Brown, Marty Brown, whatever you want to call him in that third spot. Wheatley Humphrey right behind him, Gerard Pringle right there. We got 5, man. We really have 5 running backs. All right, tight ends. I got Bauman and Lofton as my starting tight ends with Shot right behind them. I don't know where an Owen Ruskovich fits in yet. I just don't know, right? Like 6'8" monster of a human being can catch everything, super athletic. Is he going to be a contributor this year? I don't know. Again, like I'm speaking just purely as a fan, like what his work looks like in the offseason might show up this fall, and he might be that 4th tight end. And that's awesome because we use the tight ends a lot, and Carson Beck likes the tight ends. Who I'd see with the most yards out of that tight end room. We'll get into that in the season breakdown when we give a whole roster breakdown and schedule projections and wins, losses, and all that. So Bauman, I think he's going to be a lot more solid than people think. Right there with Elijah Lofton, who's just a freak show of a person. And look, I asked it on Sunday, and I'll say it again. Like, is he going to meet the expectations that we have for him? And the thing is, also the expectations that he has for himself. I think he has high expectations for himself, and I think he's going to work harder and harder because he knows he's ready. Like I said it on the pod before. He's your favorite football player. That's who he is. He's an absolute monster. All right, receivers. All right, so I got JoJo and CJ as my starting outside. I got Nightcar behind JoJo and Josh Moore behind CJ going into camp. And slot, what I think is the more highly contested room. I'm saying that though, what I think is the more highly contested room, Tony Johnson, the transfer from Cincinnati. Ray Joseph, is he ready to take that step up? Leadership and mentality has always been there. He knows the work is always, he's been behind X, which is a tough spot to be in. But how much did he learn from him? How much did he grasp? And is he able to take that next step and be a real problem? Or does Malley just outshine everybody and take that spot and run with it? And the other 2 upperclassmen, a coldish way to say it, become supporting roles. Not cheerleaders in that sense, but like, do they get snaps when Malley needs a blow? You know what I'm saying? We shall see. O-line, left to right, really the only competition would be left guard. Because left to right, it's Bell. I got McCoy in the left guard spot. Then you have James Brockemeyer, Inez Cooper, monster. Shout out to Inez Cooper every time. Shout out to Inez Cooper. Mentality, work ethic, completely transformed his body. He's not going to need to be walking around as an NFL player trying to lose weight. He's a fucking monster, bro. Shout out to Inez Cooper, bro. Inez Cooper's #1 fan, dog. For real, that dude is a salute to him, man. And then you got, possible #1 pick, top 3 pick in the upcoming NFL draft, top 3, top 5 pick. Who knows how that shit goes? Francis Mainoa, absolute monster. Mentality, work ethic, 6'6", 336, 330. Runs, he's gonna ball out this year, man. He's gonna have a monster year. All health included. All health and prayers included with that. All right, let's just jump right up to the other side of the trenches. Fam, I'm not gonna hold you. I had a really hard time just like picking the 4 defensive ends because I went D ends, I went edges, and then inside because I thought the inside was a little more straightforward. but the amount of D linemen that it could beat. So I had Bain and Mezzi, of course, as the starters. I have Malik Bryant backing up Bain as the number 2 spot with Lightfoot trailing behind. Not trailing, but like in that next spot. And then I had Mezzi, and I went back and forth with this, man. Like, do you put an Armando Blunt as a like hybrid where he plays inside and outside? Which, as I'll just say that out loud, I'm probably gonna put Blunt in both categories. So I'm gonna have Blunt, literally writing this down. I'm gonna have Blunt in that rotation at DT and the end. But I had Hayden Lowe, and Cole McConaughey backing up, reading those two slashes, because it's one. I think it's going to be one or the other going into camp. Who stands out? We'll hear more and more as we get more information. But I got Armando Blunt wedging his way in there into one of those spots. On the defensive tackle spot, I have Scott and Moulton as my starters. Just that's chalk right there. And I have Dante Simpson backing up. I have Dante Simpson playing early. I really do. I don't know. Just again, for me, right? Like, this is my grading system. It ain't got to be perfect. This is just my thoughts. I got Simpson, and then I got Blade behind Moulton, and then I have Blunt rotating in there as well. Obviously, for different packages and different schemes, that's up to Coach Heatherman and how he wants to run it. So yeah. So like I said, for defensive ends, I got Bain and Mezzi as starters. Obviously, Bryant and Lowe. Keep forgetting about Malik Bryant. I wanted him to be an edge the whole time, but he's still on the roster as a linebacker. He plays edge. And Marquise Lightfoot. I think the body transformation that Marquise has had, got to speak to his mom a little bit during the scrimmage. He's really locked in and focused in on putting weight on, and has had not many issues doing it. Whatever his weight is, but he's definitely bigger than year one for sure. Then you got Lowe and McConaughey. McConaughey's body does look a little different. Does Hayden Lowe just jump over everybody as a freakish freshman and jump out the building and just be like, yo, I'm here, and stamp his, plant his flag as that next edge once Bain and Mezzi go into the league next year, which is crazy, bro. Can't believe y'all remember we saw, we waited with bated breath, where Bain was going, and he said it at the when he won the Player of the Year in Florida. I forget the name of what it was. Y'all let me know in the chat. That's escaping me, and I was like, yo, and then he just worked, and he threw a 37-year-old offensive left tackle to the side from Clemson when Clemson was Clemson. That was a good Clemson. That was still Clemson coming off some shit now. So then in linebackers, I was talking with Pedro yesterday. My guy Pedro, shout out to him, man. We need to get him on the show one of these days. That boy got story for days and pictures for months with players, man. So shout out to him. I got Motoré in the middle. I just, because I don't know how you put West in the middle, because Torres always played outside, right? But he's to me, excuse me, he's a bigger run stopper. He's a bigger linebacker than a West is. So I think you put the slimmer West on the outside. It's just me thinking. Could be wrong. Totally fine. You put West on the outside and Motori on the inside, run stopper, see ball, get ball. Just leader of that room, knows Coach Heatherman, knows his defense. It just makes sense if this team defenses ran through the linebacker, that you have somebody that you're familiar with, that knows your verbiage, has worked with you before. So that's why I was sliding Torre into the middle. That's just me. So then behind Torre, I put Popo. And behind West, I put Cameron Bobby Pruitt with Wiley right beside him. Jalen Alderman can mix in there, does have, ton of game experience, could get in there as a security blanket and things like that. No disrespect to him, to call him a security blanket, but I just think there's the level of talent in that room has raised. And with incoming freshmen, Cameron Bobby Pruitt and Callan Wiley, you still have an Ezekiel Marcelin, probably a year away. Don't know, haven't heard much about him from pods that I listen to. So that's who I got as my top two linebackers. If Callan Wiley continues to take steps, I can see him pushing for some serious snaps, but we shall see. Now, defensive backs. I got OJ and Lucas as my starters on the outside. I just do. There's gonna be some Damari fans. I don't know what Damari is, bro. Like, I've seen moments, and I know people tell me what he could be. I just haven't seen what he is yet. If that, you know what I'm saying, if that makes sense. So I got Damari rotating in with an OJ, kind of that spot. Unless he wants to take a step back to safety, that brings a whole different set of rules and a whole different set of conversations. But that's what I got in my outside. And Keontae Scott as my starter, and Brant Lee as my nickel. I can see Damari sliding into that nickel as well when they have a bigger wide receiver that Damari needs to be physical with. Damari's a physical DB. We shall see how that goes with that. Defensive, and then the safeties, I got Poyser and Thomas as my starters. Markeith right there with Poyser. Not right there, but like as the backup is going to be rotating in, because they're going to defensive side of the ball. They have enough depth now where they could rotate in. I think Markeith gaining weight. I'll say it again, bro. With Markeith gaining weight, just a huge, huge, huge thing, because he's a smart football player, always in the right place. Just didn't have the weight to make the tackles and make those plays. And hopefully with that additional 10, 15, 20 pounds, whatever it is, if we ever get updated weights, that's going to be huge. And I have Dylan Day as my backup to Jacoby Thomas. I just think, again, led his team to a state title in Louisiana. Football player. Put on weight, looks good, looks ready. Shout out to Dylan Day. And an honorable mention on that side of the ball, man, Amari Wallace. I think Amari Wallace, I don't know what the fuck that was. That was weird. With Amari Wallace having that injury last year, later in the year during football, and jumping back and being ready for spring ball, being a full goal, and wearing that 2.6, I think he's going to be a problem, man. And again, you have the young guys like a Bryce Fitzgerald, a Chris Ewald. We'll see what we have with them. Yeah, that room is really packed, bro. That room still, I mean, who knows what a Jadaeus Richard looks like if he comes back and he's ready for camp. He did have that injury really late in the season, so who knows what that looks like. But yeah, man. Fam, take some water real quick. That's it. Yep. Fam, we did it. That's it, bro. We get footage tomorrow of our Miami Hurricanes taking the field in the IPF. We get press conferences, media time. We start ramping up to 8:31, man. And did it, bro. This was a long off season. It felt crazy, but we did it. We're here. Media days today, so follow everybody who's on campus and get as much footage and watch as much of it as possible, man. But that's it, bro. That's it. 8:31 is 31 days away. Camp is here. The Canes are here. It's time to get to work, boys. All right, man. Appreciate y'all. Again, this is recorded. I'm dropping it at our regular time. Appreciate you for my guy Joe, for Poke, for CB. This is You Heard. We out of here, baby. Peace.
Thanks for watching. You heard. Thanks for listening. We appreciate y'all. You already know every Wednesday, 6 o'clock. You already know every Sunday, right on time. You already know.